about landscape.
Right, okay. I just want to make sure you knew that.
What are you proposing at that site?
Excuse me?
What are you proposing at that site?
Pharmacy,
Pharmacy.
a retail store pharmacy. My client is a pharmacist. He bought the property about 5 years ago with intentions of making it nice.
So we're going to put this on the next meeting?
Yes, what is it that
Nancy
you'll be
told me
looking?
this is a preliminary. She said I have to come back. So just tell me when and how and all that stuff. I'll speak to Nancy, I guess, when she comes back.
Yes.
I also spoke to your volunteer yesterday to confirm, and she sounded very nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Except she told me to be here around 8 because you're the second one on the agenda. That was the only thing that threw me.
Well, in the I had mentioned in the future, Mr. Hudak, Cullen, and Gross, if we could accommodate our community people, put them first on the agenda so they don't have to sit down and, I know you want to follow Robert's Rules of Order here, but, we have this individual sitting here for almost 3 hours, and I don't think that was fair to him. So if we can consider doing that in the future, I have mentioned that numerous times in the past.
Well, perhaps if, when you come back again, if you can speak to Ms. Kalfel about requesting that you're a little bit higher up on the agenda. Of course, if there are other issues,
But you have to understand, it needs to be referred then to the town clerk's office, who then sets the agenda, who can put him on first.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
but he said that he spoke to Ms. Kalfel.
I understand.
He said he didn't, Nancy Kalfel, he didn't call, and if Nancy Kalfel should have then referred him to Ms. Mazzy. Maybe that's what happened in the interim, that we had a problem here.
I believe first I went to the clerk's office, and she told me to speak to the supervisor's office. I played ping pong with them.
Point noted.
Well, you know
Back
something,
and forth.
I think what's,
There it
I
is.
think what's important is, and, there we go with that cooperation again there, Jake. The bottom line is.
Please don't get him involved
Let's,
in it.
let's just say that what you ought to do then is go to Ms. Mazzy, who's here, and, don't stop with Ms. Kalfel. And, as soon as possible, because for a lot of times what we do is or at least it's my understanding that matters are scheduled when people call. So it's probably not the worst thing in the world, but I gotta tell you, I think that you certainly shouldn't have been bored this evening by the meeting.
No.
So, okay, very good. I mean, what the heck, I mean, we even had visuals tonight, so, so I think that,
Let's not defer from the point that if we can get residents from the community up in front of the agenda and they can coordinate with the supervisor's office, who then submits the agenda items to the town clerk's office. The town clerk's office should then at least consider who is in the audience and put them up first. And if for some reason they're put on the bottom of the agenda, that you can waive your Robert's rules and allow individuals to get up in front. That's my
Okay,
point this evening.
let's move on,
Thank
please.
you.
okay.
No, the only thing,
Thank you, sir.
we should be the last stop to him, right? There's no reason to come back until he gets the
Ultimately-
other approvals.
Ultimately, he needs, it's my understanding, sir, your client and our town council couldn't be with us this evening, but it's my understanding you need to appear before the ARB for approval for the edifice.
Wednesday.
Right, you'll need planning board approval for the landscaping, and you mentioned a zoning change. So it may be a while before you're back, but I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and you may be back for a final approval after these various boards,
Yeah, hopefully next month.
hopefully.
I don't want you to come back unless we're ready to
Yeah.
take action. There's no
Okay.
reason for that. But before we can take action, everyone else has to take action.
Oh, because I have to go back to the planning board too, after I go
Right.
back to the, I have 2 meetings next week. And
Okay.
then, assuming they
And the-
approve it, then I can go to the planning.
Right.
You're saying I shouldn't come back to you until after I.
Well,
go to the
that's
planning.
how, that's what I would say, right? Because we're the last stop, so.
Okay, I didn't.
And we need to
I
know,
didn't-
we're not gonna
I'm
approve anything unless we know everyone else approved everything.
I'm not
That's the
sure
standard
if
procedure.
the planning board said that. I think the planning board gave me 3 referrals, one to you, one to the ARB, and one to the zoning. They said, once you get those 3, then come back to us. That's what the planning board told me.
Okay, well,
Okay. In that case, we'll need to put you on for October 28th, and if you consult with the town council, he'll prepare any pertinent resolutions which we may need on that date, because that's our next scheduled voting session.
Do you mind telling me who the town council is?
Sure, town council Will Stevens, Stepheens.
Will?
And I don't have Will's office number. It might be 845-279-4226. Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Nancy Kalpfel can give you the, or my,
She's coming back Monday?
Monday, yes. Yeah,
Will. Okay, thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you, sir. Item 8, letter from council to supervisor regarding current town Carter Santa Pro. This was not my agenda item.
Just so that it's clear that what happened was, there's been repeated, repetitive talk about the Carter and these bids and everything. So what had happened ultimately is, as I suspected it might happen, the attorney for Santa Pro Disposal Services Corp., doing business as Suburban Carting, wrote a letter to the town board regarding what has been repeatedly referred to as how the Santa Pro is mobbed up, or its ties to the mob, how Justice Andrew O'Rourke, what he did was he said that Santa Pro was mobbed up. I repeated that that's not what the decision said. It went on and on. So inevitably what was going to happen was Santa Pro Disposal Services Corp., through their attorney Curtis and Libel PC, Timothy Curtis, wrote a letter to the town board, which I'm going to read. I'm lucky enough, though, to have some visuals tonight. I just asked the supervisor if he could put up the big visual of the Carter, the $887,000. Wouldn't we want to see that again? You know this big thing right here, if I could see it?
Councilwoman, please make your point. Let's move on.
No, I'm going to read I'm going to read this
The hour
letter.
is late. Go ahead.
I don't know why is this not appropriate. I just want to read this letter so that everyone could see the visual, which was the $887,000 extra.
But the checks are showing.
Yeah, the big check thing here. Can we
Same
have
thing.
that again?
Councilwoman, make your point. Let's go on.
No,
The
I
hour is
am. I'm
late.
going to read the letter, but I want
Okay,
everyone
then
to
read the
see
letter.
that big visual. Why did he want the visual before and he doesn't want it now? I thought he was making a point with it. Okay, let's just read the letter, because this is important to me. Because what this means is this town is at risk of being sued, of more litigation, of hiring more counsel, of having more of those monies go to lawyers. Ready? Town Board, Town of Southeast, 1 Main Street, Brewster, New York, regarding Santa Pro Disposal Services Corp., DBA Suburban Carting. Dear members of the board, as the board is aware, this office represents Santa Pro Disposal Services Corp. This letter is being submitted to clarify the record and to rebut the outrageous allegations of your supervisor, Michael Wrights, in his most recent blogs to the Brewster 10509 at yahoogroups.com, a copy of which is enclosed for your reference. In his latest blog, Supervisor Wrights attempts to take the position that he is the one who is seeking savings for the taxpayers of the town of Southeast. Mr. Wrights further criticizes town board members for awarding the refuse contract to Santa Pro, which he claims was the, quote, higher bidder with alleged mob ties, close quotes. Obviously, Supervisor Wrights has a very short memory. Approximately 1 year ago today, and the letter is dated October 4th, 2010, in an email authored by Supervisor Wrights on September 8, 2009, a copy which is enclosed for your reference, he actually advocated that the garbage refuse contract in the town of Southeast be extended and awarded to AWS under their existing contract. Specifically, Supervisor Wright states to the town that, quote, we have 4 options, not merely 3. AAA, Santa Pro, AWS as bidded with a rate increase, and an AWS renewal under the existing contract, parentheses, no rate increase in 2010, close parentheses, end of quote. Following that course of action would have cost the Southeast taxpayers $97,699 annually in additional garbage refuse costs, as AWS's existing contract was in the amount of $1,573,904, and Santa Pro's contract is in the amount of $1,576,205. What Supervisor Wrights fails to relate to the board and to the public is that Santa Pro's bid was $97,699 below the existing contract with AWS. Santa Pro was the most responsible bidder, as recently affirmed by the Appellate Division's 2nd Department, and was in the best position to provide effective garbage refuse removal at the most inexpensive price. Even Supervisor Wrights, in his September 8, 2009 email, found that, quote, AAA presently has insufficient existing infrastructure and capacity, close quotes. Clearly, his preference was to charge the Southeast taxpayers an additional $97,699 for refuse collection simply because he did not wish to make a decision with regard to the outstanding bids. Inexplicably, Supervisor Wrights then, 2 weeks later, voted for AAA Carting, which he had previously found to have insufficient existing infrastructure and capacity. on the pretense that he was attempting to save the taxpayers' money when he had clearly found AAA carding to be unqualified just 2 weeks before. The board should also be aware that SanaPro was a successful bidder of some of AWS's customer lists and assets, including customer lists containing the Village of Brewster. SanaPro was only able to bid for those customer lists and assets after being thoroughly vetted by the United States Marshals who were charged with running AWS and liquidating their assets. The federal marshals who were in charge of AWS would never have permitted SanaPro to bid, nor would they have entered into a contract with SanaPro for those assets if there was even a hint of any alleged affiliation with organized crime in connection with the assets or operation of SanaPro. It is truly unfortunate that Supervisor Wrights would make such blatantly false and libelous statements when he knows just the opposite to be true. SanaPro as a company enjoys a fine reputation and serves 6 municipalities, which includes over 25,000 residential customers. Currently, SanaPro is saving the taxpayers of the town of Southeast approximately $97,699 per year compared to the town's previous contract with AWS. SanaPro has enjoyed working with the residents of the town of Southeast, and they are providing the best possible service to the town. One more paragraph. Maybe the best one. By copy of this letter, we are advising Supervisor Wrights that if he continues to willfully and maliciously malign SanaPro's corporate reputation, we have been authorized by SanaPro to seek the appropriate redress and financial remuneration within the legal system. I trust this letter will put Supervisor Wrights' rumors to rest. SanaPro truly wishes to have a positive working relationship with the town and to provide refuse collection services at the most affordable price. Timothy J. Curtis signed this letter. Now, I'm not going to read you the attachments. What I would do is invite you to please contact the town, and I will have the town clerk have copies of this document ready, which includes the email from Supervisor Wrights to the Brewster 10509, and also his email in which he says that the infrastructure of AAA was has insufficient existing infrastructure and capacity.
That was Paul Johnson's statement, not mine. I agree
Actually,
with him.
it looks like I'm going to have to read the supervisor's email. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I'll have to just do this. Gentlemen,
We
it
have
looks-
someone who wants to talk. Do you want to let him talk, or no?
No. Well, you just denied that. You just said that that then Councilmember Johnson had.
It's from Paul's report, August 23, 2009.
No, I don't know. It says Michael. It's 3 paragraphs. The last paragraph, as I've stated previously, and it says Michael at the bottom, and it says from DM Wrights. That's how I get emails
Okay, the
from you.
email's mine, but the statements from Paul Johnson's report date about
Okay.
August 23, 2009.
Ready? As I've stated previously, this is from the email. All 3 refuse collection bids received in 2009 are defective. 1, AAA presently has insufficient existing infrastructure and capacity. 2, SanaPro is a higher bidder and is looking to institute a new collection system that will trap us in the future. And 3, AWS is the highest bidder. In contrast, a renewal with AWS, that's the one that would cost us $97,699 more.
No, his math was off.
Which is supervised by U.S. Marshals, freezes the rate at what our bid experience this year tells us is a competitive market rate. And this option leaves us free next year to bid the contract. Because of the defects in all 3 bids, renewal for defects in all 3 bids, so that was the AAA bid, the SanaPro bid, and the AWS bid. Okay. Because of the defects in all 3 bids, renewal for 2010 is the safest option for multiple reasons, parentheses, e.g., AWS is now clean, has the capacity and the experience and a good record of delivering service